Dear friends, first video on linear algebra, in that we have seen Cartesian product, binary operations, algebraic structures, field, group. Now by knowing all these structures, now we are going to define one more important structure which is very useful to understand the concepts of engineering, particularly electronics and communication engineering. So that structure is called vector space. Here, unlike field, group, we need two sets. Let f comma plus comma dot be a field. The first requirement for the vector space is we need to define field. Let f be a field which is closed with respect to addition and multiplication, and addition and multiplications, they are satisfying all those 9 properties. So f is need to be there to define a vector space. Elements of f will be called as scalars. So vector space, we need two sets. One set is now over, one set must be a field. Then we need another set. Let V be any non-empty set whose elements will be called as vectors. So for vector space we need two sets and two operators. So two set, one is set f and another one is set v. The set v is any non-empty set and whose elements are called vectors, and set f is again non-empty set which is closed with respect to plus, closed with respect to dot, and elements of f, they are called scalar, and where f is a field. Now when V is called vector space over the field f, okay, then V is called vector space over the field f if following things are satisfied. Again, with respect to addition and multiplication, we have to consider the properties or postulates which need to be satisfied by V and f with respect to plus and dot. After having f as a field and V as a set of elements called vectors, after having these two sets, we can say that V is a vector space over the field f if following properties are satisfied. Now let us see which are the properties dot and plus they have to satisfy to say V is a vector space over the field f. So the first property is, if I pick up two elements v1 plus v2 which is equal to v2 plus v1, so this property for all v1 v2, this is commutative property, so it should fall in v. So v1 plus v2 should be equal to v2 plus v1. Then second property with respect to plus, we can say that there exists an zero vector in V such that a plus 0 is equal to 0 plus a for all A belonging to V. So this is existence of identity with respect to addition. Then third property, existence of inverses. For each V belonging to small v belonging to capital V, for each V belonging to capital V, there exists minus V belonging to capital V such that V minus V is equal to 0, and that 0 vector belongs to capital V, and V also belongs to this. For each V belonging to capital V, there exists minus V belonging to capital V such that plus V and minus V is equal to 0, where 0 is nothing but it is a 0 vector. 0 is nothing but it is a 0 vector. Now third property is over. This is existence of identity, existence of inverses. Now associativity, that property we will see. Then V each satisfying associativity. So this is fourth property, I think. So V1 plus V2 plus V3 is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 for all V1 plus V1 comma V2 comma V3 belonging to V. So this is associative property. Now there we are having plus, we are having dot. With respect to dot, we are saying this, we are not talking about vector multiplication here. In vector space, that vector multiplication is vector, and vector to vector multiplication is not there. So what we are saying is vector and this scalar is coming from field and vector is coming from V. So this property should be satisfied with respect to dot. Dot is a mapping from V cross F to V. So let us say V belonging to capital V and C belonging to capital F, then C dot V should fall in V. So what we can say that is, here it is vector space, this vector, this dot, this scalar multiplied by vector should fall in vector or should fall in V, then it is called as it is close with respect to scalar multiplication. It is close with respect to scalar multiplication, right? So there are four properties which we have seen with respect to addition. Then we have seen this fifth property with respect to scalar multiplication, where scalar is coming from F and this vector is coming from V, and scalar multiplied by vector, if it is falling in V, then it is called, it is close with respect to scalar multiplication. Now let us see again property with respect to dot. With respect to dot, so I think it is sixth. A multiplied by this V1 plus V2, okay, multiplication distributes over addition A dot V2 for all A belonging to F, for all V1 comma V2 belonging to V. So this is multiplication distributes over addition. Number 7, AB multiplied by V, right, A dot B. It can also be written like this fashion, where A comma B belonging to F and V belonging to capital B. So two scalars multiplied and resultant scalar is multiplied by a vector which is equivalent to B multiplied by V, the vector is scaled by B, and resultant vector again scaled by A, where A and B, they are the scalar coming from the field F, and small v is a vector coming from capital V. Now one more property which is required is 1 dot F is equal to 1 dot V. 1 dot V, one is coming from the field and V is coming from capital V, which is equal to small v. For all small v belonging to capital V, 1 belonging to F. So here we have taken this multiplication distribute over addition, then we have taken AB multiplied. So one more property which is required here to satisfy the condition of vector space, formation of vector space, A plus B, they are the scalars multiplied by vector. So A dot V plus B dot V, where A comma B, all A comma B belongs to F and small v belonging to V, capital V. So V is belonging to capital V, A and B, they are the scalar multiplied by vector. Addition of scalar multiplied by vector is individual scalar multiplied by vector and their addition. So if all these properties, 9 properties satisfied by set V over the field F, then V is called vector space over the field. If all these properties are satisfied, then V is called vector space over the field F, and denoted by VF. So vector space is a very important concept. So many times, like whatever problem we are having in signal processing, we bring that problem in frequency domain. Likewise, we can also have vector space representation for that problem, and we can use the properties of vector space to simplify the problem and to solve the problem. After defining the vector space, we know that vector space requires 2 sets and 2 operators. First requirement is V should be close with respect to addition, and we should also be close with respect to scalar multiplication. These 2 things, in addition to these 2 things, we have to see all other properties. That is, first 4 properties can be taken as V plus is an abelian group. It is covering 4 properties. Then if I add scalar and multiply with vector, then individual vector gets scaled by scalars, and their addition takes place, or it is equal to their addition. Then if I multiply 2 vectors, 2 scalar first and multiplied by vector, then we can that can also be equal to vector multiplied by scalar. Then whatever result we get, again multiply that result by scalar, we get the same thing. And then again addition of vectors multiplied by scalar, which we have seen, that is multiplication distributes over addition. So now let us see one more terminology in the vector space, that is vector subspace. Here also we need a vector space. Let V be a vector space over the field F, and W is contained in V. So W is a subset of V, and V is a vector space satisfying all those 9 properties, having field F, all scalars are coming from F, and then V is close with respect to addition, and all those things, all those stuff, they are satisfied by V. Then V is called vector space over the field F, and W is contained in V. Then W is called vector subspace or subspace of V if W is vector space in its own rights with respect to same operations on V. same operations on V. So this W is called subspace. W has to be subset of V, and then W is a subspace, then W has to satisfy the property of V over the addition and multiplications which are defined over F. Same operations, addition and multiplication, which are defined on F, for those operations W should satisfy all those properties. That is why W is a vector space in its own right. Then W is called vector subspace of V. So in short, if I want to find out whether W is a vector subspace or not, so what we have to do is take any two vectors, let us say V1, V2 and V2. So multiply these vectors by two scalars. V1 is multiplied by A, V2 is multiplied B, then a linear combination of this V1 and V2 that should fall in W. It belongs to W, V1, V2 belonging to W. Then if I pick up A and B which are belonging to F, and V1, V2 that belongs to W, then linear combination of V1 and V2, it should fall in W. Then W is a subspace of vector space V. So V1, V2, these are the two vectors which we have picked up from W. A and B, they are the scalars which we have taken from F, and then A into V1 plus B into V2, if it is falling in W, then we can say that W is a subspace of. If we are having this one scalars from F, and in that case those scalars, let us say alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n, all these are the scalars, okay, and they are ordered scalars. Then collection of all these scalars, yes, alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n, they belongs to F. Then alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n, such that alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n belongs to F. So different combination of alphas gives me different vectors. This ordered pair is one vector. So by changing values of alpha 1 to alpha n, we can get set of vectors. So V is having infinite number of vectors. So we can say that V is consisting of combination of n tuple. So it is called tuple, n tuple, because it is having n components. Each component is coming from F. So it is combination of n tuples. V is a vector space of n tuples where scalars are coming from field. So it is a vector space having collection of n dimensional vectors. If we are having n components, we can say that it is n dimensional vector. So for two dimensional vector space, we can write like this. So V1 comma V2 such that V1 and comma V2, all V1 V2 belonging to F. We can say like this here also, such that all V1 V2 belonging to this. If I collect all these pairs together, I get two dimensional vector space. So where V1 and V2 they are changed, so many options are there. So depending on, we get different vectors, and it is a collection of vectors. So vector space is a collection of vectors. So these are two simple examples of vector space. So now the question is how to access, if it is a two-dimensional vector space which is given to you, and you want to access or you want to represent the vectors. For two-dimensional vectors, we need two distinct vectors. They must be linearly independent for expressing any vector in that space. So if we are having vectors, let us say vector space having we are having n-dimensional vector space, then V1, V2, Vn, if these are the vectors of vector space is there, all these are the vectors from the vector space. These vectors, they are called independent vectors if their linear combination, AI, Vi, these AIs are coming from the field F leading to 0 only if or it implies ai equal to 0 for all I equal to 1, 2, 3 n. So vectors are said to be linearly independent if their linear combination is 0, if and only if all scalars are 0. If suppose n equal to 2, I equal to here 1 to n equal to 2, we can write a1 v1 a2 v2 is equal to 0. Then we can say that vector v1 and v2, they are linearly independent. It means that a1 equal to 0, a2 equal to 0. v1 and v2, they are linearly independent. It means their scalars of linear combination must be 0. a1 v1 plus a2 v2, it is a linear combination of two vectors where a1 is coming from field, v1 is coming from vector, a2 is coming from field, v2 is coming from vector. Linear combination of v1 and v2 is 0. Then v1 and v2, they are called independent vectors if a1 and a2, they are 0. So vectors are said to be independent if one vector is not possible to express in terms of the remaining vectors. Any one vector out of those n vectors, it is not possible to represent in terms of remaining n minus 1 vector. So v1, v2, v3 are linearly independent if they satisfy this condition: ai vi is equal to 0, ai equal to 0 for all I. This a1, a2, a3, all they are scalars and they are coming from field. So if their linear combination is 0, implies their linear combination is 0 and vectors are independent, then their coefficient must be 0. So or we can say that vectors are linearly independent if one cannot be expressed in terms of remaining vectors, then they are called linearly independent vectors. Here I cannot write v1 in terms of v2. If a1 and a2, they are non-zero and result is 0, it means that we can write v1 in terms of v2, and in that case we cannot say that v1 v2, they are linearly independent, because we are able to express v1 in terms of v2 or v2 in terms of v1. It means they are linearly dependent if a1 and a2 both are non-zero. If a1 and a2 both are given, then we can say that v1 v2, they are linearly independent vectors. So this is one set of linearly independent vectors from the vector space V. So we have defined vectors which are linearly independent. Also we have defined vectors when we say that they are linearly independent. So if you are having vector space and we want to represent the vectors, the first thing is we should have n-dimensional vector space. First choose n vectors which are linearly independent, and second thing is that linear combination should span entire vector space. If you are having two-dimensional vector space, we need two vectors, two linearly independent vectors, and these two linearly independent vectors must span entire two-dimensional space. Then these two vectors are called basis vectors. So let us define what is basis of a vector space. If we are having let V be n-dimensional vector space, V be n-dimensional vector space over the field vector space over the field F, then v1 v2 vn be called as basis set of V if number 1 v1 v2 vn must be linearly independent. Number 2, linear span v1 v2 vn, linear span of v1 v2 should access entire vector space V, entire vector space V. if suppose S is equal to V1 V2 Ven is a basis of V, then number one, S must be linearly independent. Number two, L of S, linear span of S, must be V. If these two properties are satisfied by any set, then we can say that set is a basis of vector space V. So for two-dimensional vector space, there are two vectors which can represent entire vector space. And in case of three-dimensional vector space, we need three basis vectors. For n-dimensional vector space, we need n basis vectors. For one vector space, we can have infinite sets of basis vectors. For two-dimensional vector space, E1, E2, 1, 0, 0, 1, it is called standard basis. In addition to 1, 0 and 0, 1, we are having infinite pairs which are linearly independent and they span entire vector space. So basis of a vector space, it means any for two-dimensional vector space, any two vectors which are linearly independent and they are able to span entire two-dimensional vector space. That is the requirement. In this topic, we have seen vector subspace. We can say that particular set is a vector subspace if it is contained in, it is a part of some set V, where that V is a vector space over the field F. First it should be a subset, and then it should satisfy all operations of vector addition, multiplications of that big set. Then we can say that W is a subspace of vector space V. So subspace we have seen to see whether particular space is subspace or not. Pick up any two vectors from the subspace W, then pick up any two scalars and take the linear combination. That linear combination will fall into W, because I am saying W is a subspace. Or in W is not a subspace, it means I am picking two vectors from subspace, I am picking two vectors from W and I am doing linear combination. That linear combination is not falling in W, then I can say that it is not a subspace.